to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Suzanne, would you please take roll?
Trustee Villalobos?
Here.
Trustee Gradal?
Here.
Trustee Shiakari?
Here.
Trustee Levin?
Here.
Trustee Gould?
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, the district digitally records the audio portion of the meetings. The recorder is located in front of the board scribe. All recordings are kept in the superintendent's office for 30 days and are available during that time period for inspection by members of the public on district equipment without charge. As a community service, the Pacifica Community Television records and broadcasts the meetings. Okay, there was one action taken in closed session. By a unanimous vote, it has been determined to deny claim 20018-0003. Okay. For approval of the minutes of February 7th, 2008. Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
A motion to approve.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Board passes 5-0. Thank you.
Okay, approval of the agenda and consent agenda. Okay. All items on the consent agenda will be approved with one motion, which is not debatable and which requires a unanimous vote for passage. If any member of the board, the superintendent, or the public so requests, any item shall be removed from this section and placed in the regular order of business following approval of the consent agenda. Okay. Is there any items that need to be changed? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Okay, a second?
Tie.
Anyone? Okay. All in favor?
Board passes 5-0. Thank you.
Okay. Communications. This portion of the agenda is available to the public to address the board on any issue that is not on the agenda. The maximum time allowed for any speaker is 3 minutes. Okay, LSEA?
Hello. LSCA had the pleasure of meeting with our board members back in February, and we followed up with a little write-up summarizing our thoughts and feelings from our meetings. We appreciate the time that you were able to give us, and at the end we had requested some time to meet sometime in March, and we're hoping that we hear from you so that we can get together and continue these conversations because they were great, and we'd like to make this those meetings standing meetings, and we can continue to meet with you. So thank you.
CSEA?
Hello. I am speaking with reference to something that's coming up, but it's a general concept. It's not something fresh tonight, and it's in regard to a budget presentation that I was at a work study recently. I simply want to implore the district and the board to, when you get to page 23, where it says other future needs, there's a list, and of course, usually these things are in no particular order, but I would like there to be a particular order, and I would like the number one item to be technology technician. I think we're all feeling the effects of the loss of that individual who left us for his own, future goals, and we miss him a lot. And I think we are really starting to see just what a linchpin position that is, and it's needed. So that's my pitch, and I do appreciate your attention to those details. Thanks.
Okay. People wishing to address the board? I have one yellow. Janelle Jones?
I think that's for
Or
the
okay, for later.
facilities fund,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And correspondence?
So, I received a copy of the notice for the 2017-18 first interim financial report, and it's a pleasure to be able to report out that the district has submitted a positive certification, which means that the district is certified it will meet its financial obligation for the current fiscal year and the subsequent 2 fiscal years. And again, I know it's our long list of things that we would like to have, but we do really appreciate the fact that we try to be fiscally prudent, we work hard at it, and we thank everyone for their understanding, and we make a lot happen with a little bit. So I thank you all, and yet at the same time, Josie and team works very hard to make sure that we have a positive certification. So I thank you.
Okay, Board Superintendent Communications?
I'll start.
Kathy?
Okay, I attended with all of you, or most of you, the work study, LCAP, budget, superintendent search. Elizabeth and I attended the workforce housing committee meeting, where we reviewed the initial applications for RFQs, request for qualifications. CPAC, Karen Breslow from SELFA attended and went over how to read your child's IEP, which she did a really wonderful job of doing, and just took the whole IEP process down step by step and really explained it very clearly. February 22nd, I attended a presentation at the Sharp Park Library, and it was a presentation on education, building the future of America. It was presented by Alan Sarver, who's a trustee at Sequoia Union High School District. I felt it actually was really regarding the history of education finance in California. So Jesse, you probably could have put it on, but it was interesting and depressing. And at the end, Alan went over opportunities that they are able to utilize in Sequoia through partnerships with Facebook and different organizations, and it's just amazing the inequities, even here in the Bay Area, with what we can give to our children based on money. And then finally, I attended a quick meeting with Tina at the planning department to discuss the library advisory committee. And so far, I don't know if I'll be able to attend. They're going to talk again about possibly switching those meetings from Wednesdays, but she's not sure yet. So we shall see.
I was at the work study too. It was very productive work study with the budget meeting and the budget presentation and the superintendent search, and so that's moving along with that stuff every year, or every 8 years in some cases. And then on Monday night, quite a few of us were at CSM for the county superintendent of schools. It wasn't really a debate, but there was kind of a debate, and it was really interesting, really well done, and I made up my mind, so it's worth a Monday night.
Good.
I was also there, and it wasn't a debate. It was more of a Q&A with both of the candidates. So they would ask a question, and each of them would have 2 minutes to respond. But it wasn't really they weren't going after each other at all. They were just telling their points of view independently. And I think we're actually quite fortunate, because it's a difficult decision to make. They're both very, very good candidates. So we have a luxury problem. The other thing that I did was I attended my first CPAG meeting, which is the California Advisory Practitioner Group up in Sacramento. And that was very interesting. It's a group of parents and practitioners and researchers that advise the board on matters related to LCFF and also Title I. So we talked about several items, but sort of at the top was the state board really wants to better define what constitutes those lowest performing schools, the ones that really need help. And then we talked a bit about what the support that might be cascading down from the county to the district to schools might look like, but also that sort of direct support for those schools that are really struggling, the ones that need some sort of intervention. And we also talked about an update on the LCFF self-reflection tool. Anyway, it was very interesting. I'm gonna have, I don't even know what my board term is on it, but we meet about 4 times a year, so I'll have 3 more coming up this year. And I think that's about it for me. Not too much.
I had to go back on my calendar since our last meeting was February 7th when we reported out. Last week I attended the PTO PEF meeting and I found it very informational, in one place to get all the information on what's going on with these different organizations, and reminded again how lucky we are that Pacifica has such a great base of volunteers, and I can just appreciate that now, having book fair in my school. And yeah, not too many volunteers, so thank you. I also attended I don't know what to call it, like a informational talk with a couple LSEA members. And once again, I love listening because you're getting what some of their concerns are right there, on more of a one-on-one basis. I also attended the CSEA meeting, and that one was good too. I stayed for about a half an hour, and I got to meet some of the people, who are working, the maintenance workers, the kitchen staff. And so I'd like to go to that maybe once or twice a year. I'm not sure. Work studies, superintendent search, and the LCAP and the budget. And the one thing, this has to do with education, but it's kind of outside of the school district. But I've been working with some people in the community on recognizing the Native American history along the coast and Sweeney Ridge. And we just got a response from the U.S. Department of the Interior, National Park Service. They're going to actually draw up a plan, and it's due by May, on how we can better identify these historical marks so that it includes the Native Americans in our area. So, that's kind of exciting. And I had my high schooler, she sent around a petition at Terra Nova High School, and we sent that in. There was over 200 names on her list. So, just really happy about that.
Okay. So a lot of the same things, the LCAP work study, the superintendent candidate dinner, then also went to the HART board meeting to talk to them about helping to fund the workforce housing, and so they were very supportive. And then we also had the all-city concert, which was both of our bands, or all of our bands, with Terra Nova, and then that night they had a dedication to Jerry Downs, and the 2 plaques were dedicated that will go up in the music rooms at those schools.
That's very nice. So happy to go. But what I also would like to emphasize tonight is we do have some new staff members who have moved to permanent status. And so those people are Amy Falk, satellite kitchen assistant at IBL, Mary Grigi, school secretary at Cabrillo, Leslie Craven, occupational therapist at LMEC, Erica Tozzini, paraprofessional at Ocean Shore, and Tammy Cleary, school crossing guard at Belmar. So I'd like to congratulate all of them in making their permanent status. It happens throughout the year for classified staff, so I felt it important to identify them. So congratulations. Also, do you want to clap? Let's clap. I did receive notice, teacher leader honorees from Pacifica School District. So I started reading them and I said, what's that about? And so San Mateo County Office of Education is hosting the 4th annual Regional Elevating and Celebrating Effective Teachers and Teaching. It's called ECET2, Bay Area Convening, designed to elevate the teaching profession and celebrate teacher leaders. ECET2 Bay Area is an invitation-only event to which attendees must be nominated by their peers or an administrator. This year, 2 teachers from Pacifica School District will be honored on Friday, March 9th and Saturday, March 10th. The teachers include the following: Christy Novak, teacher on special assignment, district office, AEI specialist, and Lauren Fong, teacher on special assignment in the district office, one of our humanities specialists. So I'd like to applaud them for all of their efforts in leading the way and helping us strengthen our curriculum so we can meet the needs of our students in the classroom. I think the exciting thing for me is when I hear kids say, I love to read and I love math. It's so exciting, and I think we have our specialists to thank along with our teachers who work on a daily basis in those classrooms. So Christy and Lauren, you represent us from Pacifica, and we thank you.
Okay, now we're going to have a presentation from the Pacifica Education Foundation.
That's me. Do we want this? Yes, we do.
I'm going to pull up the PDF because we're having some
Okay, that's fine.
difficulty, but I will slide and you just give me a nod
No
and I'll
problem.
slide.
We're on slide 1. Okay. So hello, my name is Christy Novak. I'm the Access Equity Innovation Specialist for the school district. And part of my role is to act as a district liaison to Pacifica Education Foundation, which is our district parent organization in our community. I would like to introduce Sandy Stefanik, who is the Pacifica Education president as well. Go to the next slide. So in talking about what the goals of Pacifica Education Foundation is, are multiple things. So first and foremost is to raise funds to really fill the gaps in where the district may be having some trouble with certain areas, to help with supporting and enriching our curriculum in our schools, supporting core curriculum, aspects of the core curriculum, to promote equity across the district. So just for clarification, a PTO focuses on site needs, whereas Pacifica Education Foundation, if they sponsor something, it will affect everybody in a particular grade level across the district. And so the idea that what they do touches upon all school sites, as well as and part of that includes, again, working with the school district, myself, about where we're going with our strategic plan and our vision as we move forward. And then lastly, to continually look for grant funding, to apply for grants, and to actively seek parent involvement. This is a volunteer-based organization. Okay, so we have some new people on the board this year, and so I will just list them down. Bruce Ferry has been the treasurer for multiple years. He almost has a child in the school yet, but he has been very active and a great addition. Johnny Davis is new this year, and he is representing Sunset Ridge.
Lynn Geary has an Ocean Shore child, and she has also recently joined the board this year. Emily Hennessy, who has a child at Cabrillo, is also new. Courtney Kudalski has a child at Cabrillo, and I don't know if she's new this year. She was last year as well.
she was in
Last- And then Alden Miller, who has children at Ocean Shore. She has been a longstanding member on the district board. And Blair Simmons is also a new addition from Ortega, about a year or so.
No, this year.
This year, okay. And then Sandy, sorry. Everyone's doing that. Everyone's doing that. Sandy has been our president for about 3 years now?
Yes.
Yes, 3 years. So I just wanted to kind of do a quick recap for those who might not be aware of some of the past programs that they have supported. So in the past and going through this last past year, they have been active in supporting the music area of middle school music support. So with regards to new music and repairs, they were able to provide and start last year the expansion of music to 3rd grade, which was really a great effort to do. And they have also been consistently supporting a half a year of 5th grade Spark Poetry, which is a type of spoken word poetry, which is quite powerful for students to engage in. Next slide. They also have been helping with support in the areas of science and STEAM, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Math. They have previously been supporting implementation and education of computer science within the middle school science curriculum with the science teachers. An example is using Star Logo Nova, which is a particular computer simulation program, and we continue to work with that. The other highlight is really helping to support our actual professional teacher development as we transition into the next generation science standards in the elementary as well. So for example, this year, all of our 4th and 5th grade professional development centered around the NGSS standards was funded by Pacifica Education Foundation, which we were very appreciative of. And in looking forward with the little rocket. So just a brief understanding of the vision where Pacifica Education Foundation is going. They have been working very hard internally and working on their messaging, and also just to be very clear with the community about what they are doing for everyone to understand. So you can consider 2 areas or 2 categories that they are focusing on and looking forward to focus on. One would be a performing arts area, which includes the music. I am happy to report that for the 2018-19 school year, we are able to now fund a full year of 3rd grade music. So now PEF will be fully supporting the music program in 3rd through 5th grade, which I believe is very exciting for many people. They will continue to also help with middle school music. And they have also, in a new addition for the 2018-19 school year, are going to be fully funding a full year of Spark Poetry in 5th grade. This came out of the fact that we did have sites that were interested in continuing after that half of year experience, and it really grew to all the sites were interested in doing that. And so Pacifica Education Foundation felt that it was important to then fully support that, and that would help alleviate the PTOs to be able to focus on other areas that are more site-specific. The other area that they would like to continue and also grow on is the area of science, but we're using the term STEAM because it is a broader area that really kind of encompasses several areas within the science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Obviously, computer science they have already, and that will continue to happen as we work to educate, introduce, expose teachers and students in K-5 as well, with the idea of computer science fundamentals. There are
computer science California state standards that are slated to be adopted in November of 2018. And so we are right on there. So that's a perfect timing. As we continue again with the NGSS transition, focusing more in the elementary areas, they will continue to help support our K-8 professional development for the teachers. And in this fashion, by doing that, they are making a great impact across the entire district and impacting many students, because by supporting the teachers and helping them with this education and training, that will in turn transfer into the classroom. So that's very, very exciting. And as far, again, Pacific Education Foundation is working on some internal and then external messaging, but here are some highlights that they would like, they're going to be continuing to work on. And one is working with a Salesforce database that they were able to do, and that's been very exciting in order to be effective in organization and keeping track of things. Also working to build business sponsorships and also to increase their volunteer base, which is very crucial. This will not exist if we don't have volunteers. So whether that is a site liaison, which the school districts will be here, school sites will be hearing more about, or volunteering for a board, definitely important. Additional fundraising events. And again, just kind of being clear with the community on the messaging of what Pacific Education Foundation funds, just so when parents are, being asked for different types of fundraisers during the year, they have a clear understanding of what different entities are asking for in that donation realm. And then continue promotion of these PEF programs, and that would be through teachers, through principals, through the district office, just always promoting and to help the community at large to understand the value that Pacifica Education Foundation really brings to our school district. And would you like to say a few words?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't always speak to everyone here. A lot of the people I've met through school, but for the greater community at large, our nonprofit does not survive without donations and volunteers. And literally every dollar counts, and we put it towards the goal of providing for these programs for our children, and that's always our focus, is on improving the quality of education in Pacifica. So we support all the endeavors of the schools, as well as we are part of the schools as a family, and so we have a very vested interest in the future for our children. And if everyone can just donate or volunteer, we can make this a better place. Thank you.
And I believe that is it. Thank you for supporting Pacific Educational Foundation. Thanks. Right.
Okay. Any questions for the PEP representatives?
Questions?
We had a lot of questions answered earlier at the 5 o'clock presentation. Okay, 10B, Resolution 2018-03-07 -A through 2018-03-07-H. Okay, appreciation for the parent volunteers and the Pacifica Education Foundation.
Okay, so it's my honor and privilege to bring this item forward. It really is in celebration of all of our wonderful parent volunteers that we just could not simply do what we do in our district without all of them. And so we're going to begin first with Cabrillo C, and Tom will start us off, and then we will go to the other schools as well. Tom?
Thank you. So I'm going to explain how this will work for this evening, because our resolutions are very similar. So I am going to read the entire resolution, and I'm going to read it in a somewhat generic fashion, and then so as you're thinking about your school, just insert your name where I say our volunteers and things like that, because it's going to work very well. And then as you are brought up and introduced by your principal, then the principals themselves will enhance what they have on their resolution without having to go through the entire resolution one more time. Does that, okay. So, resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District, County of San Mateo, State of California, that whereas the parent groups and volunteers have been a treasured, supportive, and invaluable volunteer base for the school site, always recognizing that it is all about the children, and whereas the parent volunteers have brought a wealth of experience, energy, and excitement to the benefit of the school site by contributing their time and efforts to provide a warm, welcoming, and professionally rewarding atmosphere for the teachers and staff of the school. And whereas the parents have given liberally of their volunteer time and effort, always putting in a good deal of their own personality into every volunteer effort. And whereas the parents have given liberally of their volunteer time, oh, and I'm reading the same line twice, and whereas each member of these vital groups has worked tirelessly when asked to raise monies to provide extras needed for the school site, and oftentimes raising money to provide for the basic needs of the school, and whereas the parent groups have exhibited incredible and tireless effort in working together with other parents at the site and the other parent groups district-wide, and whereas the parent council, CPAC, PTO, and PEF liaisons, parent stakeholders committee, class liaisons, creative arts volunteers, library volunteers, and a myriad of other volunteer positions that make the school run so smoothly every day, have worked so very well together, recognizing their similarities and differences in their capacity as volunteers and parents. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District recognizes our school parent volunteers for their many contributions to the students and families of the district. And further be it resolved that the board hereby extends its heartfelt appreciation to our parent groups on behalf of the community, staff, and most importantly, the students of the district. Regularly passed and adopted this 7th day of March 2018. It is now my pleasure to introduce, where I get to fill in the blank, of Cabrillo School, my co-presidents of my PTO, Shelley Murphy and Shauna Kapersky. As they would come forward, I would like to present to you our resolution from Cabrillo Elementary School. Thank you for your hard work, your dedication, and all that you and all the parents do at our school. We really could not have the school that we have without our parents and our volunteers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ingrid B. Lacey. Down the middle.
Tonight, I would like to introduce Mrs. Julia Hall, our Parent Council Representative and PTO member for Ingrid B. Lacey Middle School. Our PTO is remarkable and helps to support our children in so many ways throughout the school year. Our parent groups support and assist with IBL's annual orientation day for new and returning students at the beginning of every school year. They help fund and support our annual Challenge Day event for all of our 7th grade students at the school. They help fund the annual 8th grade career night, which is happening shortly at Cabrillo School this year. This year they provided a grant for our school library to increase the volume of books and novels available to our students. which has been a great treasure to all of our kids at the school. And they also fund our annual grade level field trips every single year, the transportation costs, they assume that. And we have one tomorrow actually for our 8th graders going to the Exploratorium. So without their help, without their support, our children would be lacking, and we really appreciate everything that our PTO and our parent groups do for our children. So thank you so much.
Linda Mar Education Center, Jennifer Gray, and I don't know, Ray Avila.
Hi everyone, I'd like to introduce Lynette Lazar. She's our family outreach liaison for Lindemar Educational Center. And our focus this year has really been around community outreach. And Lynette has helped increase understanding in our community around inclusive practices. She's helped lead parent trainings. She's created brochures and welcome packets for families. She's put in countless hours in supporting our families, especially those transferring in from early intervention, just being introduced to preschool and the school district, and really helping to make it a smooth transition. Our students, our staff, and our families have all greatly benefited from Lynette's help, and we are just so extremely grateful to have you as part of our team. Thank you.
Ocean Shore School, Joe Buck.
I am pleased tonight to introduce Julie Weatherston. Julie is one of our 2 co-presidents of our PTO. Come on. The Ocean Shore PTO, led and represented tonight by Julie Weatherston, is an invaluable partner in supporting the vision of Ocean Shore. They are the deep state of our school, with hundreds of people working countless hours, building programs, supporting programs, driving on field trips. I mean, I'm allowed a minute, so I'm not going to go through the whole list. But it's incredible the programs that they have supported over the more than 40 years as an entity in the Pacifica School District. Many of our PTO families and leaders have been at Ocean Shore for more than 10 years, I believe. I think you're up to 12? 12 years? So that is literally thousands of hours for some of our families of donated time. Over the decades, their dedication, sacrifice, and elbow grease have offered deeply meaningful learning experiences in a warm and caring environment for thousands of our students. It's my pleasure to know you and to know all the parents at Ocean Shore, and I am so grateful for the work you do on their behalf.
Thank you.
Ortega School.
List right here. So I'd like to invite up Tanisha Kavanaugh, Vicki Hatch, and Janelle Jones. No, come on. Joe took up some of my time, so we're going to be really fast. Tanisha is our PTO president. Vicki is one of our co-vice presidents, and Janelle is our parent council rep. So in addition to all the wonderful things that are written in these whereas and whoases, our PTO works really hard on raising money to supplement, like Carrillo and everyone else, some of our programs, like our science program, our art program, and our garden. If you haven't heard, we have a garden with chickens, and a PE as well. They also help supply the teachers with supplies that they might need during the school year that we don't have in stock. They provide money for field trips and our in-house assemblies. They work tirelessly, just like all of you do. They're amazing assets to our community. Yes, I'm sorry about that. We're forever grateful to everything that you do for our kids and for
for our community and for your continued support. Oh, don't cry. It's okay. Thank you guys for everything you do. Love you guys.
So I'd like to introduce Amy Cole Farrell, our PTO president, Liz Blazer, our treasurer, and I always get mixed up because she was the secretary and now she's the treasurer, or she was the president. And now she's the treasurer. And then Jen Nevels is our secretary. And, they support us with building a culture of kindness up at Sunset Ridge. They raise money for field trips, so all the kids could go on buses to exciting places to continue their learning. They do things in the classroom. They're on campus all the time. We have a parent council rep, we have a CPAC rep, we have people doing all kinds of support, and it really does take a village. We can't do it on our own, and it's a very great honor of mine to share the work with you guys because you guys do amazing work. So thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
And our pancake breakfast is Saturday.
Right, they're working on it. Last night we were working on it. Today.
Tomorrow, the next day.
Belmar School, Monica, Nevaeh.
Oh, good. It's my pleasure to introduce Antonia Urbina and Brandy Vasquez. They're our co-presidents this year. And I love working with these ladies along with our PTO because I'm very fortunate to have such a strong community that works in partnership with our school in supporting our school vision of a balanced program. They help us provide our students with an education that has our kids with powerful minds, enriched lives, and they're healthy kids. We're proud to say that we offer music for all and art for all, thanks to our PTO and many other wonderful things for our students. They always have a focus on making sure we're providing programs for all of our grade levels. We have 9 of them, so that can be a challenge sometimes with a limited budget. But they work countless hours fundraising, and in fact, this year, thanks to these two, we had our highest rate of direct donations, which is kudos to them and their hard work. So I'm very fortunate, and I want to thank both of you so much.
And last but not least, I have the pleasure of thanking Pacifica Education Foundation and Sandy Stefancic for all of their work and effort. We're very excited. Again, their goal is to provide this well-rounded, enriched environment, learning environment for our students where sometimes we just can't, we don't have the funds at this particular time to do those little extras. And they really have filled in the gap in the area of music and STEAM. The one thing that we also want to do is to try to take that burden in a thoughtful way off the PTOs and off your site funds so you can spend it in your schools with your needs. And so we appreciate their looking at the budget, revamping some things, and doing a full 3rd grade year and that full Spark year, because we know you're doing it, and so now we just needed to fund it. And so I thank you for thinking about it from a systemic position, and that will then hopefully free up the schools to do other things within their own school environment. So thank you for being that common thread throughout our district of providing an enriched learning environment.
Okay, now we need a motion to approve the resolution 2018-03-7-8 through 2018-3-07-H.
What was that middle one again?
Through. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Board passes 5-0, thank you.
Okay. And we're going to take a moment to take a group picture of the PTO and PEF recipients with their principals and the board of trustees.
All of us?
Photo op.
Suzanne, have a very wide angle lens.
It's gonna be a lot.
I'll stay way back here.
Anyone walking here, should I squat?
That's fine. That's
Yeah, we'll stand
We
up.
can do this. I know. You've been years old. It really is. Oh, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Bunny ears over dead heads.
Well, this is
Bunny ears.
Nah, we're not the important people.
Trustees, come around here.
No.
It's with you.
You gotta be,
You can see us.
you gotta put your head in a window.
You guys are more important.
Come on now.
It's their picture. They're not.
Get your head in the window. Come on, you're part of our school
Unless you want
I got one. I got the last one.
You'll need another battery
Ray, you're just doing it's Will who's going to do the parent meeting at Ocean Shore, because I remember you did it before.
Everybody goes.
Go to the meeting, I'm going to go to the meeting, so I'll get back. See you
So a couple.
All right. Number 11, district goals. The district values the goals provided in our local control accountability plan and strategic plan. All of our district board agenda items are tied to these goals. One or more of the goals are listed in the description of each board agenda item. The details for each of those district goals can be accessed on our agenda online public page or by visiting the district website, www.pacificasd.org, under District Information, Board of Trustees. Okay, 11A, resolution number 2018-03-7-L, in honor of the Parklands shooting victims and in support of greater prevention measures promoting school and community safety.
Okay, so in the wake of the recent deadly shooting in Florida on February 14th, it's important that we reassure the Pacifica School District community that the safety and well-being of our students is of top priority, and this issue is taken very seriously. This resolution will honor the victims of the shooting in Parkland, as well as stress the importance of continued efforts to promote school and community safety.
Were you going to read the resolution or?
I'll read it.
Okay.
Okay.
I can't see that far.
All right, the resolution states, whereas a former student using a semi-automatic weapon killed 14 students and 3 school staff members and injured 14 more students at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida on February 14th, 2018. Whereas hundreds of students and school employees have been the victims of gun violence on school campuses across the United States. Whereas in 2018 alone, 7 school shootings across the United States have occurred with 20 fatalities, 41 injured, and countless lives forever changed. Whereas innumerable students, school staff members, family members, and communities have been directly impacted by a school shooting. Whereas school shootings, regardless of where they happen, promote fear and concern among students, schools, and families. Whereas this fear and concern hinder the ability of students to focus on their learning and of schools to create positive and safe environments for their students and staff members. Whereas schools and staff members in the Pacifica School District regularly partner with local law enforcement to stage active shooter drills on school property, practice employing emergency protocols, and conduct threat assessments to help prevent and respond to crisis. Whereas arming school staff is not an effective solution for ending gun violence on school campuses. And whereas school safety is not a political issue. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Pacifica School District Board of Education honors the memory of those at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School and others in schools across our country who have lost their lives and have been injured due to a school shooting incident. Be it further resolved that the Pacifica School District Board of Education stands besides the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School community and other school communities across the United States that are looking for ways to prevent and end senseless violence on their campus. Be it further resolved that the Pacifica School District Board of Education will continue to make student and school safety a priority and will regularly conduct and update related emergency procedures and training. Be it further resolved that the Pacifica School District Board of Education calls upon the members of the United States Congress, the California Legislature, and local bodies to prioritize the protection of students and school staff members by passing legislation that more effectively regulates access to guns in a sensible way and promotes safe school campuses conducive to learning and fully funds mental health services and resources to address the significant mental health and wellness needs many individuals suffer from that, left unaddressed, can erupt in severe violence toward others and self.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve Resolution 2018-03-7-L? Do we have a second? All in favor?
Board passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank
you. Okay, item 11B, 2018-2019 school calendar.
Might I add just a note to that last resolution? We did have a meeting with our leadership team yesterday, and have asked our principals and the leaders at the school, having conversations with staff members, etc. We realize that it's a very difficult topic to discuss and talk about, and yet our students' voices need to be heard, and so the staff will be working with the students of appropriate age in determining some best activities, emphasizing the desire for a walk-in approach rather than a walk-out approach. We were all in agreement that that would be the safest method to take, and to allow for the students to have that opportunity, as well as for our staff members. We realize that we want everyone to have a safe environment, to feel safe in where they work. And so we will continue to work with the Safe School Coalition that San Mateo County Office of Ed has put together, that has great resources and provides us great guidance. in relationship to facility needs. What are some of the best mental health support mechanisms out in our community in close proximity? So I look forward to, we will be putting out communication. Each school will have their own flavor to the letter to their community, dependent upon the activities that they are choosing to embark on, if they are choosing to do so simply because of the grade spans of our schools. And I have been in contact with Pacifica Police Department, who are extremely supportive of ensuring that, especially on these particular days, if not on every day, that there is a presence out and about, so that our community feels safe as well, and have been working with Jefferson Union High School District, especially with our 2 high schools in our community. So it does not go on deaf ears. We really do want this to be a great learning opportunity and yet a healing opportunity as well. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. 11B, the 2018-19 school calendar. Will?
So I put before you, it is recommended the board approve the school calendar for the 18-19 school year from among the 3 options provided. These 3 options were part of a discussion process that included input from our labor partners, LSEA, LSNA, and CSEA. And there was a number of meetings where this occurred. Due to the extended discussion, which did not result in an agreement, by the February 7th, 2018 target date for the board approval of the 18-19 calendar was moved to March 7th, which is today. The options are, and you have the copies of the options. Option 1 was a PSD negotiating team with a start date of August 16th, which is closer to the Jefferson Union High School District start date of August 9th, and then the April 8th to 12th spring break, which is the same as the Jefferson Union High School District. Option 2 was the LSEA negotiating team option, which was a start date of August 21st, a student start date of August 21st, and a April 15th to 19th spring break. And then option 3 was a compromise between the 2, which was an August 16th, a student start date, which is closer to the Jefferson Union High School District start date, and a April 15th to 19th spring break. And you have the copies of those options.
Okay. Does anyone have questions or discussion?
Can you repeat the spring break again for option 3 for Jefferson Union?
The Jefferson Union, are you asking for what the Jefferson?
Yeah, that's not Jefferson.
The Jefferson Union High School District's spring break is April 8th through 12th, and option 3 would include a spring break from April 15th to 19th. Different from.
So they wanted this, and that's. The difference was this. Any discussion?
I'm sorry, again, say when, I need to look at here. Say again when Jefferson's start date is?
Jefferson's student start date is August 9th.
So the main 2 differences are the start date and the Easter break. And the rest correlates with Jefferson Union.
Correct.
And our staff would prefer that Easter break be connected closer to, or spring break, yeah, closer to Easter weekend. Okay, the three options, how would we best take a vote? Or you need more time to?
What, the compromise is option? Three.
Option 3 has the earlier start, but not the
The spring break that's
coinciding spring break.
the spring break that's connected with Easter.
So my concern is that if we start later, the people who have 2 children in are not going to be able to have spring break either with them.
You're
So-
saying the August 16th,
Well, okay.
right?
So the point
Yeah,
is to
so-
move the start date closer to.
Talk about option
to
2, right?
Jefferson Union.
Right, option 2 is what she.
Yeah, that's. Option 1, right?
Okay. So that's the earlier start date. And then that's the same as Jefferson. But the idea, then you get an extra week at the end, that's the same as Jefferson, because they get out in the, so you get that extra week on this end. And they do have this ski week, which is just a few weeks before. Are there any questions about the compromise version, option 3?
Option 3 has the earlier start date and the non-coinciding spring break.
Which I think we're trying to work towards an earlier start date, so give a little something to everybody.
What's our current last day of school for this year?
I think that around the 16th-ish or something. This is current last day of school? The second week. June 16th, I think. So that gets out a week earlier?
15th.
You want to go an extra day? So that would give it, yeah, an extra week at the end. We'll get Saturday. Okay, so if we're going to decide between 3, how do we, how should we take this vote?
Is there someone who would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to go with option 3.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor of the compromise version of option 3?
Board passes 5-0 for option 3.
Okay, 11C, LCAP and budget update. Will and Josie.
All right, so the board of trustees at a work study held on February 15th regarding, had a discussion, was informed and had discussions regarding changes made to the 2017-20 LCAP metrics and actions based on new data that had come since the LCAP was developed, and also community stakeholder input from various meetings that have happened since the beginning of the school year. And we also reviewed the 17-18 budget and the direction of the 18-19 proposed budget. Highlighted changes included that the data was updated to demonstrate progress in the metrics. Changes were made in action descriptors for more clarification. Additional information was added in the actions to reflect expenditures of curriculum, for curriculum instruction. And there's a new template for the LCAP to ensure accessibility. That was something that was new, that has come out since the work study, that there's this new template. It was created. It's not much different, but it is different, but it was created for the purpose of accessibility for the ones who are reading the LCAPs. So they made some accessibility changes for that. The PowerPoint from the work study was attached. I can bring it up now again, but I don't know if it's really necessary to do so.
I feel like we have
thoroughly Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
reviewed this, unless anyone else feels.
I know Josie wanted to add in.
The only thing that I really wanted to point out with the budget was, because we went through the whole presentation, was just, and Sue Beckmeyer expressed it, is there are a lot of needs of the district. And in addition to the needs that Sue expressed, we do have a lot of needs for facilities as well. And the board approved our facilities needs assessment in January, and the PowerPoint does outline the needs of the district with regards to facilities. So, yeah, if there's any questions or comments.
Yeah. No questions for Will or Josie? Okay, 11D, resolution number 2018-03-07-I, ordering a school bond election and authorizing necessary actions in connection therewith.
So I would like to bring forward to you this resolution calling for an election of the year 2018 for a general obligation bond. As Josie commented, we did approve a facilities plan. It's not a huge, robust plan. The hope would be that if we were to put a general obligation bond measure on the June ballot and it passed, that we would be able to then have funds to really develop a robust facilities master plan that would help us prioritize those many needs that we have to continue to ensure that our school buildings are safe and well maintained and in good repair, and also reflect that the learning experiences that our students need. Included in the bond measure can be capital outlay materials such as technology, computers. We did a survey, sent a survey out, thank you to TBWB, who helped generate the survey, and on the top of our list is the fact that we want to continue to help our students move forward in computer and use of hardware and use of those tools to ensure that we have a robust learning opportunity for our students. And so I bring forward to you this resolution, which I will not read because it's quite lengthy and technical, but I think that you will see in there that it lists a myriad of things that all of our schools need, and I believe that we have provided some solid information for you that hopefully will bring you to approval of this resolution. We did have a leadership team that met and discussed and helped guide our conversations and help build our resolution. 21, I counted, community members and school employees who served on this committee to help us gather the information.
Okay, and then, okay, we have a request to address the board for Janelle Jones.
Good evening. My name is Janelle Jones, and my son Clark is a 4th grader at Ortega School. Like many families, we are very grateful to live in such a great community close to the ocean with fog-filled valleys for us to hike in. But that beauty comes at a price for our schools. The salt air can require more maintenance on buildings and electrical systems, and Pacifica's dampness can necessitate the replacement or repair of facilities due to mold or rot or leaks. Our district has not held an educational facilities improvement bond measure in 21 years. And some of our buildings are more than half a decade or half a century old. So we need the Pacifica School District Board to move forward with placement of a $55 million bond measure on the June ballot so that adequate repairs and improvements to our schools can be made. In anticipation of this potential move by the board, a group of parents, 1 or 2 from every school, are in the process of forming an election committee. We are excited at the prospect of helping to get such a bond initiative passed so that our district can not only have schools that ensure the health and safety of our children, but accommodate 21st century learning technology. Thank you for fighting the good fight for our Pacifica kids and their families and working to provide improved facilities to match the excellent education that our teachers and staff provide. Oh, I'd also like to mention that 2 of the potential committee members are here, Lynette and Julia.
Okay, do we have a motion to?
Can we discuss?
Oh, you want to discuss?
Yes. Thank you. I think you well outlined the needs for this bond. Some of us, who won't be named, had children in the district, maybe during the modernization or prior to the modernization. And I think the district did a great job with the modernization. But as you say, you know, just like our homes, we have to keep our facilities up. And going along with that horrific resolution that we had to also pass about gun safety, if our school buildings aren't safe, our children and our staff aren't going to be safe. And I think that community members driving by might think that they look great. And I think our maintenance and everyone has done a great job of keeping things up, but we need to move forward. We have such great momentum now with everything we're providing for our students, but we have to push it forward. So to me, I realize this is once again going to our community members, the people who will be paying for this, but I think our children, not to be trite, but they're our future, and we need to invest in them. We need to invest in our buildings and our infrastructure to make sure that generations of Pacificans going forward can be safe and can continue to receive the excellent education opportunities this will provide for them.
Ditto.
Succinct.
I think it should just be noted too that the state doesn't give us funds for that any longer. So, you know, if we have something big happen, it's going to have to come out of our budget, and our budget's already tight. So it's very important.
Okay.
So with that, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2018-03-07-1, ordering a school bond election.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Board passes 5-0. Thank you.
Okay, kindergarten lottery update. Ray?
All right. So the kindergarten lottery was held on Friday, February 16th. At the time of the lottery, we had 326 kindergarten enrollment cards and 51 transitional kindergarten enrollment cards. This is a definite increase from last year for the kindergarten enrollment. Of the 326 kindergarten applicants, 277 received their first choice at the time of the lottery, resulting in an 85% rate, first choice rate. All 3 K-8 schools currently have wait lists as a result of the lottery. And on paper right now, our kindergarten classrooms are full for next year.
Okay. Any questions on the kindergarten? No? Okay, so 11F, the 6th grade lottery update, also Ray?
All right. So Prior to the kindergarten lottery, on Friday, January 26th, we held our 6th grade lottery, and 29 transfer requests were received prior to the lottery date. And we processed the lottery, and at this time, we have 2 schools, Cabrillo and Ocean Shore, who currently have a wait list. All the other requests were given their first choice.
Okay. 11G, projected enrollment and staffing.
Okay, this is my item, and it is nice to be able to see that our enrollment for kindergarten is strong for next year. So today what I'd like to do is just kind of go over a few slides that talk about student enrollment over time, that looks at our staffing and enrollment, that looks at staffing for special education and comparing it from 17-18 to 18-19, and then staffing for certificated support and other staff comparing 17-18 to 18-19 projections. One thing I also want to note is as we go through this presentation that one of the questions that keep coming up is that of combination classrooms. And so one of the things that the board may want to consider and think about is to look at how our schools are structured, because currently, and you will see in the slides, our schools are designed to have combination classrooms because when you go from 24 to 32 students, there's the natural need to have some combination classrooms. So if you have interest in not having these types of, or structures of classrooms, then I think you really need to start looking at the way in which our schools are structured. So with that, I'd like to go over these slides, and if you have questions, you can ask them as we go through them. So let me see if I can see it too. So on, I think I'm going to have to move a little closer. I'm sorry. Maybe I'll go over here. No, I'll just do this. Okay, because do you need me to go to the mic? Is that going to be important? Okay, so as you can see, what I've tried to do is to give you some enrollment over time. So it starts with 2010-11, going all the way to projections of 18-19. One of the things that we do try to do, and we're in the process of doing that right now, is looking at this projection year of 18-19 to ensure all these students are going to return. Now, of course, we can't guarantee based on what they say, but parents are able to tell us if they have plans whether they're going to leave during the summer months, and that really does help us in staffing, because what's important is not to quote-unquote overstaff, because it's very difficult because when you're deficit spending, as we already are, it's very difficult to try to build that money back. So we really try to staff tight, and yet we also want to make it a good learning environment for our students. We are 1 to 24, TK through 3, and we go 1 to 32 in 4 through 8. But we usually are around the 1 to 30 to 1 to 28 range in the upper grade. Okay, so as you can see, we are, you can see this one by school over time. You see at the bottom, we were in the positive. We slowly started decreasing, then we popped up. This 16-17, we took a huge deficit, and then now it's starting to maybe level off. So my hope is that we're getting a little stronger in keeping our families in Pacifica. Any questions about this particular slide?
Well, I'm not sure it's really leveling off because we're still losing.
No, but we're losing at a lower rate.
At a lower rate. Thank you.
losing.
Right.
We are losing, but at a lower rate. And I have to say, I took these numbers when I was building maybe a week or two ago, and we continue to get students. And so I'm having to relook at our staffing because we thought we were gonna be down 2 teachers, and it looks like we might be a +1. Simply because, that's why I wanna know if families are returning, because I have to do that, not necessarily for tight staffing, but because of the way that we configure our classrooms. So it's interesting. And so this is by grade, so you will be, oh, what happened to that one 5th grade? I'm sorry.
It's got blotted out.
Yeah, it got blotted out.
That's weird.
In 17, 18, yeah. So.
It's okay on ours.
It's 340.
Oh, it's 340? Okay, thank you. So, as Ray had mentioned with our kindergarten, we were at 313, and our projected right now is 331. So that's a good sign. Our primary is moving up. But look at, and with our 1st grade was at 351. See, so from kindergarten, it goes down to 309. And that's kind of how you look at it, how they stair step over. This is a difficult year. 3rd grade right now. And then, so that 3rd grade bubble goes down to 18, 19. And it's not building up. It's just, it's weird how, you know, the birth rates, et cetera, are going. So, but, you know, you have to kind of live through that small class. So think back what happened during that time. Okay? Then here's our site staffing and enrollment. So I'm not going to go in detail. I probably should have had that for you so you could see it more closely. But the one column that I think that is really interesting for you to look at, because the rest is just pure staffing, 17, 18, then anticipated staffing is on this side. So you will see if we're going to grow or decrease. The one thing that we do in our district, because we have K-8 schools, is we do have what we call added staffing. So an example is Ingrid B. Lacey does not necessarily have any because they can build that within their own structure of electives, etc. However, the K-8s cannot do that. So what we do is we provide added staffing. For example, in band, there's a 0.5 for Cabrillo and a 0.5 for Valamar. In additional staffing so that they can have band. For Ocean Shore, they get a, where's Ocean Shore? They get a 0.4 band because they're a little smaller class. And they partner with Ingrid B. Lacey, who their band program is embedded within their staffing. So something to consider when you look at the bottom, it's over 4.0 FTEs of additional staff. So again, that's kind of an argument to take a look at your configurations, because if you do a different configuration, you may not need to do the additional staffing. But that was a concerted effort on the part of the board to ensure that all 6-8 students got the same type of program and experience across our district. And so that's why we needed to do that. The reason why I highlight in yellow Sunset Ridge, because Sunset Ridge and Ortega, who are K-5 schools, are where we can play somewhat with the enrollment. I can add a kindergarten at those particular 2 schools, not necessarily in the K-8s because they have limited space. So Sunset Ridge right now, once Sunset Ridge, I see where Sunset Ridge is, I may need to add another kindergarten class. I already added one before even our lottery happened, because there was just a larger pool of kindergarten students. I had anticipated a drop of 30 and we added. So it's really hard to make projections. And I just think with our economy, the way it's going, we have low unemployment, so things are picking up. And I think that that's an exciting time for our families, and hopefully we can have them stay. Special education staffing, it's interesting because this is probably, you could see how our 17-18 staffing and our 18-19 is anticipated. We do have a listed loss of a teacher from 12 to 11 because we just have this bubble of students who are not there in this particular age group, and so we will be reducing by one class next year in the special day class area. And then support and other staffing, we don't anticipate any changes there. That's where our specialists are and our counselors. Along with at the bottom, we have a fabulous homeschool teacher, Kathy Green, who came and presented at one of our meetings. And so we will maintain that position at a 1.0. I think that's it. Any questions?
I do feel I need to make a comment on the special ed staffing. I know there are many layers to the staffing and placement, but I feel very strongly that we need to make sure or try our best to maintain a special day class at Ocean Shore. They have integrated their special day class students into their program. They have buddy situations with different classes. That was the school that started Ability Awareness Day. It's really a strong part of that program. And while I know that all of our schools definitely make those students feel welcome, I feel like when we have a school that so strongly supports it and is basically begging for a class to be located there, I really hope that we can accommodate that because it would be a huge loss to their program.
So thank you, and thank you for sharing that. I agree with you 100%, and we will continue a special day class at Ocean Shore.
Thank you. And I think Kathy is speaking in terms of the particular student population that we do not have students in happens to affect the Ocean Shore special day class students. There are not very many. So there has been some restructuring of programs, et cetera. And Ray is working with the special day class teachers, et cetera, and programs to ensure that we have proper placement and that we are supporting the students, but also we also know the needs of Ocean Shore as well. And so there's going to be some shifting of classes.
Understood. Thank you.
I just have one more question. I know that was kind of generic, but I know that our staffing affects our split classes, 4-5,
Yes.
2-3. And when I was a parent, let's just say over 10 years ago, there weren't that many splits. And they didn't start coming until like 2007. And it seems like now it's a norm, and I'm just wondering if there's any way we can start to talk about getting back to having just 5th grade, 4th grade, 3rd grade. And I say that because I experienced it with my kids. And, I'd ask about how things were going, and they were just very honest with me. Like, they would go and teach, that part of the class, and then we would be over here. So for the larger classes that have 30 and there's one teacher, I just feel like that might be a topic of discussion and worth discussing and trying to get back to full classes with just the teachers.
So that could be a direction that you offer us, and my suggestion might be, knowing that this is my last year here at Pacifica, I think that you might want to start that conversation next year, and something I can definitely share with the next superintendent. But pull a small committee together and talk about it, because you're right, and it's interesting you picked 2007, because that's when you went up to probably 2008 or so, 1 to 24. And that started the change of having to have a combination classroom, because you go from 24 to 32, and you have to have somewhere along the line, because you can't have a combination 3-4 anymore. So, but I do want to say, if you look at research, it's a common practice throughout the state to have combination classrooms, and it supposedly does not affect learning. However, I do want to say, with the new state standards, it is difficult, especially in mathematics. So I think it's something that is warranted to look at. I'm not saying you won't ever have combination classes, but I think that you can mitigate it a lot if you look at different ways to structure.
How many do we have in the whole district as a whole?
Right now, I did a count, 7, and then next year it may go to 8. But I have to say, as we get more and more students, depending on where the students come, it's difficult to say. So,
Well, the other part of that too is we do have schools that want the combination classes, and they've built it into their program, but they are able to make it work because they have so much additional support in the classroom with parent volunteers, or what's referred to as the paid volunteer. So, supported by the PTOs. So, again, there's, I think it would be good for a committee, because then you'd have to decide which way we're gonna go. Can we go with giving more supports across the district to those combination classes, or is it a sort of restructuring so we keep them one grade?
So those are things, to grapple with, because you are spending more in FTEs just because of having K-8s, to be quite frank, But, great program, and I'm going to tell you, if you are going to transition or make some changes, it's not going to be in a year. You're going to talk about it, then you're going to have public forums, and then you're going to have to tell those people coming in kindergarten, you may not be in the same school. So I think that it really needs a lot of thoughtful processing to make it successful and to make it fair to our families. I think that it's very important that they come in with their eyes wide open. And it's not that it's terrible and awful, but look at our PTOs who are here. You just love your school. Everybody loves their school. And so you're going to have to make a determination of when it is you're going to make that transition, how you're going to make that transition. So there are some things you need to think about.
Okay, 11H, resolution number 2018-03-07-J, release of temporary certificated employees. Wendy.
Okay, so this is my resolution. I don't know, I'm just having a hard time with mine. Are you going to pull it up?
I'm going to pull it up.
Okay, please pull up my memo.
Yeah.
Okay, this is really about when we hire, we first start hiring teachers on temporary contracts. Because what that does allow us to do is we have to save staffing space for those who are on maternity leave, who are already tenured. And as I did the count this year, because we have a number of people on maternity leave, we have a staff member on a leave of absence who will be returning We have some job shares where those are not approved until, I think, April. And some of those staff members are tenured employees who deserve a space should they choose not to job share. So we have a lot of things that we have to do to save a spot for tenured teachers. At this particular time, it's my recommendation that we release the temporary teachers who are on the list, and if you can bring the resolution up now, based on need for saving space for our tenured teachers. And there are some who are currently pre-interns, are PIPs, that need or do not have the credentials that we would need for the following year, so that those teachers, temporary teachers, excuse me, are requested to be released as well. If you could go down the list, you will see we also skipped a subject area of music because we do have a need for a music teacher, and then we would go to the teachers here who are job share teachers, who are temporary teachers who are replacing who worked this year for those who are on maternity leave. We have temporary teachers where I need to save a spot for a teacher returning from a leave of absence, and then a few of them due to their credentialing. So, there you have it. Any questions?
Okay. All right. Do we have a motion to approve Resolution 2018-03-07-J, release of temporary certificated employees?
A motion to approve.
A second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Board passes 5-0. Thank you.
Okay. Resolution number 2018-03-07-K, classified layoffs as a result of lack of work and/or lack of funds. Wendy?
Okay, so again, I bring this forward to you. Classified positions fall under different ed code and process. As we noted that there will be a reduction, for example, of one special education classroom, which therefore a paraprofessional would need to be laid off. We also have some school programs that are going to be modified perhaps, and so that would be a reduction of hours. And so this resolution really reflects a layoff process as a result of lack of work or lack of funds for next year.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? Okay, do we have a motion to approve the Resolution 2018-03-07-K, classified layoffs as a result of lack of work and/or lack of funds?
A motion.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Board passes 5-0. Thank you.
11J, certification of second interim financial report for 2017-2018. Josie?
Okay, as part of the budget process, we do bring reports to the board periodically. The first interim report, as Wendy mentioned, was approved by the county not too long ago. And the second interim report reflects the actuals from July 1st through January 31st. So the second interim report is a very good indication of how we will end this school year. In addition, we have the governor's January proposal, which we reviewed in the summary last, I guess, February 15th at the study session. And so now we have a pretty good indication of next year's budget, and then we project out the following year after that. So the second interim has this current fiscal year and a 2-year projection. It was built conservatively based on declining enrollment, and as you heard from Wendy, that could change when we bring our next report to you. but we did build in some staff reductions based on declining enrollment. This report is a full report with the general fund and all the funds, which you didn't see during the February study session, so you have the full report in front of you. The one item to really look at is the certification, the summary page that the board has, and that certification that the board president will sign and the superintendent will sign kind of summarizes the fiscal indicators, and so you can kind of look at the summary and see where our district has some areas to look at under the what's called criteria and standards, and I'll just read off some of those areas. Deficit spending is one of the fiscal indicators for our school district. Contributions, increases in contributions to restricted programs is another fiscal indicator. Ongoing post-employment retirement benefits, which means paying for retirement benefits and uncapped health insurance, is another fiscal indicator. Negotiations not being settled for the current fiscal year, another indicator. Declining enrollment, and then again uncapped health benefits. So we are filing a positive certification, but just to keep the board informed to look at some of those fiscal indicators as we move forward and make decisions on our budget. So I know we talked in detail at the study session. I don't know if you have further questions, or after looking at the detailed report, if you have more discussion or questions.
Okay. All right. Do we have a motion to approve the certification of the second interim financial report?
I'll move.
Okay, do we have a second? All in favor?
Board passes 5-0. Thank you.
Future agenda items?
Delegate assembly.
Assembly.
Skipping over.
It's not in here.
Delegate assembly.
I have it here.
It's on this.
It's not in mine.
No.
Look from 11 to 12. Okay.
Yeah, it's not on mine either. We gave you a copy.
It was, yeah, it
That's
was
right.
late.
Yeah, so we had to send a revised one. So I bring forward to you the 2018 CSBA Delegate Assembly notification to select three members for our area for the Delegate Assembly. Our area is Subregion 5B. We do have three, and I think I attached, if you could bring up the,
Which one do you want to bring up, the ballot?
yes, bring up the ballot, please. So the three are Amy Koo, Belmont Redwood Shores School District, Clayton Koo, who is from Jefferson Elementary School District, and he is an incumbent, and Kalima Salahuddin, Jefferson Union High School District, and she is an incumbent. I attached their bios or their applications for your review.
Any relation between the
I don't
Coos?
think they are.
No,
I think they're not.
They're not.
No,
They're
they're
I don't
not,
think they are.
because I would think that would be a conflict somewhere. Something like that.
They're not.
Do we vote for all three, or
Yes, you
two,
could.
or?
Well, you could vote for a maximum of three.
And there's three.
So it's however you want to do it.
Yeah, I don't know Amy, but her bio looks impressive and on point. I know Clayton and
Yes, you know, yeah.
Kalima have been doing this for quite a while, and they seem to do a good job of representing our area.
I know all three of them, and they're all quality.
So if someone would like to make a motion, you can just move to vote for all three at one slate if you'd like. And see how that goes.
I'll make a motion to vote for all three
I'll second
on
that.
the slate.
Okay, all in favor? All three?
Board passes 5-0. Thank you.
Hey. Now.
Now, future agenda items?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so next meeting, we will have a presentation from Janae Luttrell, who is an administrator for Safe and Supportive Schools. She is extremely helpful, part of the Safe Schools Coalition, and she will be talking to you on trending issues in San Mateo County, just so you can hear some of the things that are happening and what we're doing. The first part of business is Camp Lead. Ray Avila will be sharing that information along with Janae Luttrell. Camp Lead is a new opportunity for our students. Those are the student leaders who may not particularly know that they're student leaders, but we call, I can't remember the term, I thought it was non-conventional student leaders. And the camp will focus on leadership skills, but through a social justice lens. They have this particular camp in San Diego, and it has proven to be successful in helping students develop their core inner selves. People who volunteer and are counselors and trained to support the students at camp are law enforcement, employees of the school district, and then trained counselors. So our desire is to participate in this camp. They have come to the North County, the Jefferson Elementary School District, Brisbane, Bayshore, and Pacifica School District will participate. 100 students can attend, and so we would send kind of a certain percentage based on our student enrollment. And so we're working together with those school districts along with Janae. It's very skeletal right now, and so we have to put a lot of meat to it, and Janae is going to help lead us move through that process. So I think it's an exciting opportunity, and the camp will be in the Santa Cruz Mountains, what was it called? Redwood? And it's a national park, so it's a beautiful setting for our students. There will be an ESS update. We'll talk to you a little bit about our transition to STEAM, and then the TRAN, we may need to borrow money so that we can at least make our payroll because of the way in which, of course, LCFM funds us. And then again, we will have our manual meeting. For April 25th, we will have that opportunity for staff appreciation for those who are retiring. The Wellness Committee will provide an update, as will facilities maintenance and operation. A study session for our LCAP budget development for May 23rd. Any questions, additions, comments? Thank you.
Okay. So we will adjourn at 8:50.
The maintenance ones I had are coming up next.
So
Kathy says